Philadelphia Eagles OTAs are in full swing, and there's been a few players that have already been turning heads, as Philly seems to have a couple hidden gems that are ready to go crazy in 2025, whether it's an up-and-coming future star at the edge rusher position, another monster on the defensive line, or a couple of other new additions. So in this video, I'm going to break that all down. Plus, the Eagles got some pretty promising injury updates from OTAs, including one on Nolan Smith. Well, there's also been some pretty loud trade buzz linking the Birds to a former top 5 pick at tight end. So again, we're going to talk about all that starting right now. Some of the Eagles' biggest hidden gems have already made their presence known during OTAs, and it should have fans excited about what could possibly be coming for them this season, but that's just one of many storylines that should have fans excited right now. I mean, obviously, for one, Bryce Huff was just traded to the San Francisco 49ers a few days ago in a move that not only got the Eagles an additional draft pick, but it also cleared up a decent amount of cap space as well because of some behind-the-scenes maneuvering by Howie Roseman. So you can check out my full video breaking down the entire trade and what it means after you get done watching this one. But on top of that, we also got some other storylines, including some exciting positional battles going on at safety and cornerback, both of which seem like they're going to be very intense and closely contested. You got Cooper DeJean lining up at multiple positions as he's now been taking reps on the outside in base sets. We also got a surprisingly positive update on Nakobe Dean's injury from Eagles creators Thomas Mott and Josh Davis, all people, as they revealed that Dean told them that he's been trending in the right direction to be ready for the start of the regular season, which is honestly insane and pretty surprising when you think about the severity of Dean's injury. And he's not the only guy that we got a really promising injury update on recently, as Wednesday's media open practice showed us a really positive development regarding edge rusher Nolan Smith. As despite the fact that he tore his tricep during the Super Bowl just 3 months ago, the third-year man out of Georgia was seen at practice on Wednesday with his helmet on along with a big brace on that left arm, and he was out there running through drills early and looking pretty good, might I say. So that was definitely awesome to see, and while sure, Nolan wasn't a full participant and he really only did individual drills, the fact that he was even out there just a few months since the injury and surgery in the first place is definitely a very good sign for his health as we get closer and closer to the start of the regular season. As I mean, the typical timeline for a return from this injury is about 6 months, which for Nolan, that would put him at some time in August during training camp. So again, the fact that he was out there, even in a very limited capacity, is a great sign, and it definitely does seem like there's a chance that he's a bit ahead of schedule in his recovery. So again, that's definitely great. But personally, I'm just hoping that he has no setbacks and he's fully 100% healthy for the start of the regular season, because I truly think Nolan has a whole new level to reach in his game, and this could possibly be the year for him to do it. I mean, we saw the exponential growth that he was able to make last season, going from barely playing any defensive snaps in his rookie year and being a backup to begin the 2024 season to becoming a starter and possibly the best edge rusher the Eagles had outside of the Super Bowl. I mean, the guy just got better and better as the weeks went on, and you could clearly see that with his production, as he ended up with a very solid 6.5 sacks in the regular season. But it was the postseason where Smith played his best ball, as he put up 4 sacks in those games, which already shot him up to second all-time in Eagles postseason history, by the way. So, again, I think given the growth that we saw from Nolan Smith down the stretch of last season, he's only going to continue that this year now that he's going to be given an even bigger role. And I could see him easily putting up 10-plus sacks and becoming a bona fide star this year, but apparently, PFF doesn't feel as strongly about that as I do, as writer Ryan Smith ranked him as just the NFL's 28th best edge rusher going into next season. And yes, I understand that there's a lot of talent at edge rusher across the entire NFL, but that just feels awfully low to me for a guy who's clearly one of the up-and-coming stars at the position, and again, he proved it on the biggest stage in the playoffs, but Nolan's just going to have to prove him wrong with what he does next season. But now, getting to some other small injury updates from OTAs, center Cam Jurgens actually has not been practicing, as of course he's coming off back surgery, but he at least was there at practice when it was open to the media, so I'd say that's a pretty positive sign, and I'm sure he'll be back before we know it. And then, even though he wasn't present on Wednesday when the media was there, we actually got some very positive news on left guard Landon Dickerson, being that, according to EJ Smith, Dickerson actually told him at an Eagles Autism Foundation event that he has recovered from his knee injury and knee surgery, and he only missed Wednesday's practice with an illness, but he has been at the other OTA sessions this offseason. So, obviously, again, that is great news. And in addition to those awesome injury updates, we also got some interesting developments regarding some of the Eagles' most underrated players, with the first of those hidden gems being edge rusher Jalyx Hunt, as the second-year man out of Houston Christian is easily one of the Birds' biggest breakout candidates for this season, and he's shown why during OTAs, as not only was he getting most of the first-team reps and was the only person to quote-unquote sack Jalen Hurts during team drills at practice last week, but he made it clear that going into his second year with the Birds, he's feeling much more comfortable, he's locked in on improving, and he's fired up to make an impact.
I think this offseason I just know a lot more of what is expected of me and what to expect from tackles and different players across the league. So I just know a lot more. So I've been able to approach my game in a more professional way by figuring out, what moves I want to work on, who I should watch, what I should watch, being a lot more technical, because that's the biggest difference that I've seen, is that players who are elite and good, their technicality levels are on completely different levels. So if I want to be great at this position and in this league, I got to be technical. So that's what I've really been focused on, and that's what I think has really changed between last year and this year.
How much you feel at the edge rusher position specifically? I know you're kind of early in that transition.
Yeah, facts. I'm way more comfortable, man. Last year, it was all coming at you fast. You kind of just try to keep your head, play your rules. But now I feel as if, I can understand the game a lot more. I can play within the player that I am and have a little bit more personality out there instead of being so cookie cutter. So I'm excited about that.
I don't know about you guys, but those comments from Hunt just make me even more excited about what he could possibly do this season. And him saying that he has that extra comfortability is huge because, as he said, it's allowed him to just lock in on his technique and just refine his game overall. And that's really the next step for Hunt. I feel like we tend to forget that this guy was literally playing safety just a few seasons ago in college, and he was seen as just a developmental project after being drafted last year in the 3rd round. So the fact that he's even in a position where he can make a big impact in just his second season is pretty darn impressive. And again, he's got the talent, he's got the physical tools, so the fact that he's feeling more comfortable and he's locked in on improving his technique is absolutely huge, and something that I could see leading to a total breakout season for Hunt in 2025. Like I said with Nolan Smith, we saw the exponential growth last season with Hunt as he went from really not playing at all in the beginning of the season to making a real impact towards the end of the year. And in the playoffs are where he played his best ball, as he had 1.5 sacks and 3 QB hits in those games. So given that, and given what we saw and heard from Hunt during OTAs, I only expect his upward trajectory to continue and for him to have an amazing season. So I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts. How many sacks will Jalyx Hunt have in the 2025 season? Give me your predictions down in the comments below. But all that said, Hunt isn't the only Eagles hidden gem who I'm extremely excited about, and it was actually another young defensive lineman that caught the attention of most Philly fans during OTAs, and specifically, I'm talking about the rookie defensive tackle Ty Robinson, aka the Vanilla Gorilla, as the Nebraska product had Eagles Twitter pretty fired up last week after the small glimpses that were shown of him during OTAs, specifically with the Birds' social media team releasing this video from day one of open OTA practices, and in it, we saw this small clip of Ty Robinson easily lifting a blocking sled, tossing it aside, and then crushing the second one as well. And look, sure, there's only so much you can take away from a 3-second practice clip of an individual drill during OTAs, but I will say, if there's one thing that I can take away from this clip, it's that Robinson looks like a guy who's always going to give you his full effort and is going to bring the physicality, whether it's in a game or in a simple offseason practice. You can see the effort and intensity in the way that he ran that drill during OTAs, and you could also see it in the brief looks we got of him during rookie minicamp as well, so that definitely gets me excited. And Robinson was a guy I was already extremely excited about. When the Birds drafted him, I had said that he might have been my favorite pick of the entire draft outside of Jahad Campbell, and that's simply because not only is the guy an athletic freak who showed out at the combine, but he also clearly has the ability to both rush the passer and stop the run, and in turn, he very clearly has the potential to become a good NFL defensive tackle. So to see this clip at OTAs only got me even more fired up about the 4th round rookie. But again, I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts. Just how excited are you about Ty Robinson after this brief look during OTAs? Moving on though, a couple other guys that I was interested to hear about at OTAs were the new additions at edge rusher and Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche, because these are two guys who I would consider hidden gems and potential breakout candidates for the Birds this season. And while we didn't get a ton of information on either one of them, we did at least get one pretty exciting development, as fellow edge rusher Jalyx Hunt gave a pretty strong endorsement of both his new teammates.
Man, both great rushers. You've seen them play. They're here for a reason. because just their explosiveness, their attention to detail, how much they love pass rush, that's what's like super exciting. I know a lot of players, they look like they like pass rushing and they are very good at pass rushing, but yeah, you can sit down. We sit down in the room and just talk about pass rush. We'll be in the locker room talking about what moves to hit, why they like this move, what develops off this move, just because we love what we do. So that's the biggest thing I've taken from them. Explosive, love the game, ready to be here and ready to contribute.
You know, this is nothing crazy, but it was definitely good to hear Hunt praise both Ojulari and Uche like that. And again, these are two guys that, like Hunt said, are explosive, they love the game, and they clearly have the potential to contribute this season. I mean, you can check either one of their track records to find out that if they can stay healthy, both these guys are very capable of putting up double-digit sacks. So again, I'm super excited to see what each of them can do this year. Moving on though, I'm also excited to see what the Eagles' next moves are going to be after trading Bryce Huff to the 49ers. As of course, moving on from him is going to open up one extra roster spot when the trade officially goes through post-June 1st. And combine that with the fact that Brandon Graham's retirement is set to process at the same time, and that's now 2 open roster spots for the Birds and Howie Roseman to fill in the near future. And there's been a lot of speculation about whether the Eagles could maybe look to make some big additions with those open spots. For example, the main name I've seen mentioned in recent days is Falcons tight end Kyle Pitts, as a report just recently came out from Jordan Schultz saying that the Falcons have listened to calls from teams who want to trade for Pitts, and while I would still prefer to keep him, a trade is very much possible if the right compensation is offered. And combine that with the fact that the Eagles do have a long-term need at the tight end position, with Dallas Goedert getting up there in age and also just being on the last year of his deal. And naturally, there have been a lot of rumors linking Pitts to Philly. And look, I'll admit, it does make some sense, as Pitts is young, he's a Philly native, and while he hasn't lived up to the hype in his career just yet, he very much still does have the talent and potential to be a great player. And if anyone can unlock him, it's the Eagles. And they also definitely have the draft picks to get a deal done. So I'm not going to say it's impossible. However, it just doesn't seem super likely to me, given that not only does Pitts have a $10 million cap hit this year, but they could also just wait for him to hit free agency next year and sign him then without giving up anything. And it's not like they have an immediate need at the position. So, that's just what I'm thinking right now. Now, I do have to mention that the Eagles did just open up a good bit of cap space with the Huff trade and with the Slay and James Bradbury cuts going through, so maybe that makes a trade for Pitts more likely, but still, I just don't really think it's going to happen, but who knows, maybe I'm wrong. And on top of that, I've also seen a guy like Justin Simmons mentioned as a candidate to fill that roster spot, which that I won't rule out either, but I also just wouldn't be surprised to see the Eagles make a couple of small additions with those free spots too. So, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But to close this out here, let's listen to an awesome message coming out of Eagles OTAs as Nick Sirianni got Olympic champion sprinter Michael Johnson to come speak to the team, and we got a pretty cool behind the scenes look at that in this video.
Did you lose any races from 96 to 2000 or from 92 to 96, and how did you deal with that adversity if you did? I don't know, you might not have.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand this whole concept of losing races. It's not familiar. It's just not familiar to me, but I've heard about it. I know some people that lost some. Yeah, nobody's here because of the expectations of anybody else. Nobody came here for that, right? You're here because of your own expectations of yourself. You guys have your own goals as a team. You know what that's about, and that's where you stay focused on. For me, it was like, I was coming to practice every day just like, I'm looking for my coach to tell me where do I suck? Where can I be better? I craved that criticism because I knew that's the thing that's gonna make me better, right? So it's a mindset, and for you, it's like, where you are, by the way, just last season, man, it was fun watching. It was fun watching, especially given the transfer, going moving over from New York and everything. But I think for you, man, you're on such a trajectory now. Just being obsessive about it now. Just being obsessive about little improvements, right? And that's what's gonna make you legendary. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, hey, good luck, man. Yeah.
I personally think this clip is so cool. For one, I just love the insight he gave to Saquon there, and let's hope that he and the rest of the Eagles adopt that obsessive, locked-in mindset that Johnson outlined going into next season. And that said, you guys know that I'm going to be continuing to cover everything that comes out for the Philadelphia Eagles this entire offseason. So if you don't want to miss any of that coverage, then make sure you guys subscribe and you turn on notifications. That way you don't miss anything. And also make sure you guys drop a like as well to show some support, because it really does help me out a ton. See if we can get to at least 500 likes today. And also leave a comment down below just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. And if you want to watch another Eagles video going in depth on the Bryce Huff trade, then you can check this video out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.